This is the first of a series of videos I'm making visiting Hemswell Antiques Centre just outside of Lincoln in England. It's the biggest antique centre in Europe. First building you come to is the guard room. There's another 3 huge buildings, so if you're going to come and visit, which I recommend you should, do give yourselves plenty of time. You can walk from building to building. You can also drive as well. Parking's free. So let's get our bearings. I don't quite know where to start. I haven't been in this building before. Let's have a look at the map. There we are there. I think I need a bit of help. Now, luckily for me, I bumped into Diana. Now, Diana, are you the overall manager?
I'm the senior buildings manager for Hemswell Antiques Centres. So I run the guard room as a manager, and I oversee the other 3 buildings and the managers within them.
Right. Okay. I think you've got all the power here.
I wish.
Okay. So I've just had a look at this board here. Now there's so much going on. So this is where we are here at the guard room.
We're at the guard room.
Talk us through what we can do.
So what you can do is you can go up to the mini roundabout, as you see.
Let's have a look up there. So,
yeah.
I see. Can you walk it?
You can.
Yeah.
And you'll come to building number 3 on your left. So building number 3 is repro, retro, painted, quirky, industrial, upcycled, repurposed, painted, vintage and antique.
I thought you were never going to stop.
Something for everybody. Diagonally across the central car park is building number 1.
Yeah.
So building number 1 is the original flagship for the business, and it has traditional furniture, antiques, collectibles, everything in building number 1, and it has the licensed restaurant attached.
Oh, I say, right, okay.
Up the pathway next door, building number 2 has a foyer full of silver and jewellery. It has antiques and collectibles, the same as building number 1, and then it has a garden area with statuary and pots.
Wow.
and architectural pieces.
Okay, I'm only meant to be here for a few hours. I think I need a few weeks.
Bless you.
Right, I'll better get cracked on. Thank you very much. Right, let's just get our bearings. Take all of this in. 2 floors here. My goodness me. Oh, morning.
Morning.
Very friendly people. Always makes a difference, doesn't it? Right. Okay, look around, up and around. Try and plan a route if you can. That might not be possible. We'll just wander. Oh, what's that? Oh, hello, a samovar. That's rather nice. Water heater to you and I. Nice one. Oh, how much is it? That'll be a few hundred. Oh, not bad. Right, so we're going to stay downstairs for a little while. Let me know in the comments if you see something that you think I should have spoken about. So I'm just going to kind of wander around here in the guard room at Hemswell and find things that I'm drawn to. But as we know, everybody has very different taste. But you've got modern art here. Is that Victorian? What's he called? Victorian? What's he called? I can't even remember his name. Oh no, that's Fabian Perez. Now he's very well known. Actually, that's very cheap. Fabian, when I did an exhibition with an art gallery in, I think it was Harrogate one time with my work, the Perez artist was exhibiting at the same time. They were about $5,000 a go, 1150. So that's not bad, is it? So modern art here as well. It's Jack Vetriano, isn't it? I think. Probably get myself into all sorts of trouble for getting that wrong. But yeah, modern art as well. Might see a piece of mine here, you never know. Now, again, modern sculpture. What a thing. If you are lucky enough to own a very big garden, even a small garden, they would look pretty funky, wouldn't they? Ornamental bronze heron, $12.95. Well, actually 2. Wow. Okay, so not antique, but incredibly stylish. And where would you find another? I think I've met her before. That's interesting, isn't it? I don't know a huge amount about vintage, well, rather, this is antique costume clothing, but it's certainly 19th century, very Victorian. You can see how the whole body is completely covered in this very, what do they call it? They called it a certain style of clothing. Well, it's modesty clothing, isn't it? Showing nothing, but pinching in the waist, because the fashion during the 19th century, when this thing was made, was something called the empire silhouette. This is what ladies wanted to achieve, the empire silhouette, which was effectively an hourglass figure. So they would pull the waist in very tight, pad the hips and the bottom, pad the shoulders to accentuate that tight little waist. And this, of course, is the period of the corset, when corsets were first invented. And, you know, corsets have a very different kind of reputation to the reputation they had during this period, probably the 1880s, when corsets were very refined and sophisticated, where now they have a bit of a naughty kind of reputation. In those days, the corset was designed purely to pull in the waist as tight as possible. And if you get my book, A Bash with the British Empire, I write about the history of the corsets, where the corsets were designed so tightly that they often killed women and men, in truth. Men wore them as well. And this is where we get the sayings tight-laced or straight-laced and a loose woman, all from corsets. So I might make, in fact, I did make a video on my YouTube channel about corsets, so have a look at that. Anyway, there you go. I am just rabbiting on, but how much is that? I don't know who would buy it. So Victorian 1860s, okay, 145. Well, who would buy it? Let me know, would you buy it? I don't know whether I wouldn't buy it, but I do appreciate it. Okay, here we go. Again, shout out, let me know in the comments if you see something that I should have spoken about. I'll put the contact details, of course, for the centre in the description as well, so you can get in touch with them. My goodness me, but here's a warning for you. If you come to Hemswell, really, you do need a very long time, seriously, because it is overwhelming in the nicest possible way. It's just astonishing. I don't think there is anywhere else in the country with this amount of stock. I think it's the biggest in the country. I should know. I should have done my research, shouldn't I? I have been here before. I filmed here many years ago, I think with, what was it? Put Your Money Where Your Mouth Is for BBC. Wow. But I don't think this one was here. Well, hello. I mean, what can you say? I've never seen anything quite like it. It's probably Oriental, isn't it? I would think. Chinese, Japanese. Let's see what they say. Oh, it's Indian. Okay, well, it was going east. How interesting. 695 metal stand. I mean, look, if you had the talent, the skill, you could make this horse come alive, couldn't you? Books. Suit of armour. A modern suit of armour, but what a look, eh? Isn't that good? Again, the right house. If you've got a big country house, bung that in your hallway, you've suddenly bought yourself some history. 500 quid-ish. Museum quality set of 16th century style. Be worth a fortune if you're 16th century, but very nice. Wow, we've got upstairs to do yet, everybody, so you can always pause it, make a cup of tea, but stick with me because we have absolutely no idea what we're going to find here. Art Nouveau, very stylish. I mean, it always has been, hasn't it? This Art Nouveau look, you know, from the 1885s, 1890s, 1910s, that sort of period. Before, of course, Art Deco. It's very stylish now. I think it's very stylish now. Don't think it's something that will ever go out of fashion. It's just got the look. In fact, very often you'll see, like that there, is that Moorcroft? Something like a Moorcroft? It was Minton. These vases from that period look like that glass vase there looks like it could have been made yesterday, but it's 113 years old. So it's absolutely timeless stuff. Right, where are we going? Oh, you see, this is my first love. From a very young man, this is the stuff I was buying, researching, restoring, and selling like hot cakes, by the way. 18th/19th century rosewood, walnut, mahogany pieces of furniture. Everybody wanted them. They were aspirational. If you made a bit of money, you'd buy yourself a big bureau like this with a cupboard on the top. That's just what you did. So that bureau there, 2,350, I would say in the mid-1990s. It's Georgian, circa 1790, 1800. I would have sold that mid-90s for, let's just have a quick look. Let me go back in time. I would have sold that for 4,000, 5,000, and I would have sold it very quickly. So now at a couple of £1,000, it is remarkable. I think it's had some restoration. You can tell by the urn on the top there. It looks a bit fresh. The top looks a bit fresher than the base, but it's a potential marriage, we call them. But you know, it doesn't matter really for a couple of £1,000, genuinely. You buy something that looks like it should be in a museum, but it's in your house. And I promise you, your neighbours won't have the same thing, ever. Always popular as well, a dumbwaiter. Great name. So for obvious reasons, it is, you know, doing its job. It's waiting, as in a waiter. The top will spin around, probably Regency, light is bad here. Regency 1820, something like that. And it's 395. Yeah, they've got it down at 1810, bang on. Wow, look at that for Christmas parties. Oh. Okay, I could spend forever looking at furniture and gilt mirrors. That one, probably not ancient, but it's got a very, very stylish look. And if you've got the room, the space for it, my goodness me. What have they got it down as? Oh, they've got it down at 19th century. Okay, so well, if that's the case, then it's had a good restoration because it looks relatively fresh. But I do, if that's what they say, I believe it. I'd need to have a look at the back. And I'm sure the back would tell me that it's 19th century. In fact, the glass itself is telling me it's 19th century. Look at this. Can you see these black pitted marks? This is evidence. Can you see that there? These are the things that you want to see on an old piece of glass. The black pitted marks. And the reason for that is this, that is a sign that the plate glass, the plate beveled hand cut mirror there is original because it's mercury. So it's a mercury mirror, literally made using mercury, which is illegal now. You can't do it because handling mercury, for obvious reasons, can cause one or two problems. It's not a problem buying an antique mirror, of course, made with mercury, but that's a sign that it's a mercury mirror. So the mercury is popped behind the glass and it causes these black marks, imperfection in the glass, which actually make it totally perfect. Because if you saw that mirror with a really bright mint condition mirror glass itself without any black marks, then you're going to be worried because it's brand new. So even when you see these very early mirrors with black all over the place, you can barely see yourself in the reflection, they're good and they're sought after because you can't replace them. Fantastic. So it's a quirk, isn't it, in the world of antiques, when a mirror that you can barely see yourself in is actually much more desirable than one that you can see yourself in. There you go. So a couple of £1,000. How glamorous is that? These old credenzas used to make a load of money. So that's burr walnut. And you can see the way that the walnut is cut. Can you see that? It's cut, probably quartered, and then put together. So it's veneered. And they've cut the walnut in such a way to get that decoration on the front panel there. So it is, literally, it's a piece of art. And then they've inlaid it by hand to enhance the background. Incredibly expensive way of doing it. And these things were £5,000 in the 90s, I would say. Let's see how much this one is. 2,900, so about half what it would have been. Great value for money, incredible value for money. Just don't smash the corner glass because that's very expensive to replace. I've done videos, haven't I, on Black Forest bears. There's a very good pair of Black Forest bears. It's a children's stool, look at that, 1,600, that's very rare. Incredibly rare thing. Glass eyes, 19th century, late 19th, I'd say. Oh, hello. Oh, remember, man is mortal. There you go. Take one thing from this video. Man is mortal. Live your life. Memento mori, meaning that, exactly that. Man is, oh gosh, wow, look at that. That is a rare beastie indeed. £2,500. Wow. If you've got the money, why wouldn't you? That is superb. That's quite interesting, depicting Napoleon there. If you think about it, Napoleon is an odd character in British history because, of course, he was our #1 mortal enemy. But the British have always admired Napoleon immensely. How many enemies have we ever had that we continue to admire? And we did admire during the Napoleonic Wars as well. You can't help it. He was quite a guy, quite an amazing military and political leader, in fact. So yeah, we do. We still admire him. And there you go. There's a very special porcelain plate there. Wow, 1880. 875, so 1880, like 65 years after his defeat at Waterloo, still being celebrated.
I'm very well.
Not bad.
Robert's asked me to give you a call to let you know that he could deliver on Tuesday.
Right. Shall we have a look upstairs?
Afternoon. And they will give you, obviously, they'll give you a bit of an update on the ETA when they're en route. Early afternoon.
My goodness me. Now this, I think, that they built on top. This was the old guards room, the old RAF building from, what, the 1930s, 1940s on the base down there. And then they built this floor above. Wow. Now you must have been to antique centres or BBC programmes where you visit antique centres, but not all antique centres are the same. And when you look around this place, I think really, you know, you don't need words, do you? You can see the difference. Everywhere you look are genuine, proper antiques, real things, desirable things, yes, mixed with some good designer, newer things, but it just works. But my goodness me. It is very special. I mean, I could talk about things all day long, but I'm just going to zoom around now. I will stop if I see something that really kind of tickles my fancy. There's a restaurant somewhere. I think I'm going to need it shortly. Good me, that's so Victorian, isn't it? 1930s or earlier, I think it's a bit earlier. Wow. So this is interesting. The dealer is a member of LAPADA, the Association of Art and Antiques Dealers. So it's the London and Provincial Antique Dealers Association. So this is an organisation where you have to apply to become a member. I used to be a member many years ago when I was purely dealing in antiques and doing the fairs. And so it's an organisation where everything you sell has to be absolutely as described. And so you're governed by the LAPADA rules and regulations, and they vet you and they make sure that you've got a great track record and great knowledge and all of that. So it's actually quite unusual to find dealers now, members of LAPADA. You know, it used to be that dealers would almost, you know, beg and plead to be a member of that organisation, but less so these days. So it's quite a rarity to find a LAPADA dealer. Oh, I've got to stop talking about furniture, but look at that. Chest on chest. So usable as well. Now that desk is not everybody's cup of tea, but I've got to tell you, I love it. And I used to love these things when, you know, in the 90s when I was selling mainly furniture. And they weren't that popular then. And they've never been that popular because this is a 19th century, heavily carved Victorian desk. Might be English, but quite possibly Northern European, maybe Dutch, Belgium, that kind of thing. But it's got a great look. It's terribly eccentric with that. Is it a lion mask? It's almost like a half man and half lion, isn't it? Mask handles. Certainly lions down the outside edge there. Let's have a look at the drawers. And let's have a look at the construction. So that is actually a machine-made dovetail, which is a good way to date it. So let me just double check on that. I'm doing all of this live. Okay, so it is a machine-made dovetail. You can see because the dovetails themselves are absolutely uniformed, aren't they? You can see that. If they were hand-cut, handmade, you would find a scribe line here where the joiner, cabinet maker, had actually drawn the line and then cut the tails to it. But a big lump, solid oak, good, usable thing. Yeah, a bit eccentric. I like it for that. Tell me, do you like it? 1,200 quid. It's okay. Better than going to buy a new one, isn't it? Oh, good looking things. Chandeliers galore. Looking for a chandelier? Goodness. Hello. Wow. Okay, I'm almost, I was going to say almost at the end. I could just keep on going, couldn't I? Look at that. Big lump, Burmese silver. Jeepers creepers. 1,000 quid. In Blackamoor style, Venetian standard lamp. Again, got the look, hasn't it? Venetian, yeah. 3,000 quid. There's another one there. It's a neat piece of furniture. Look at that. Again, it got the earlier look, William and Mary, sort of 1690, 1700, maybe Queen Anne look to it, but probably a 19th century version of, I would guess. Yeah, 1890, 1900, 600 quid. Perfectly usable. Got a bureau here. Very nice. Very nice indeed. Right, let's have one more look over the balcony here. And come back soon for part 2 from Hemswell Antiques Centre. So much more to see.